My dad both got kicked out of UTEP. But they were able to turn flags around and do something with them. In Jim's case, it was serving his country in Vietnam. And literally, he was asked to put his life on the line for all of us, and he willingly did so. Came back to this country, built a life for himself and his family, contributed to the success of this community. And his story is not unlike those of other Vietnam veterans, who instead of being welcomed back to El Paso in the United States with ticker tape parades and thank yous and pat on the back, were usually greeted with nothing at all. In some cases, greeted with derision and scorn and criticism from a country that did not understand what it was doing half a world away, and ended up taking it out on those who actually served their country and were willing to sacrifice their lives for this country. And I've been so struck by Jim's example, not just of service in uniform, but service once out of uniform. Like so many veterans that I've had the pleasure of working with, they still take that oath to this country and our Constitution so seriously. They still stand up not just for themselves and their families, but for other veterans. And one of the things that I love about the generation that served in Vietnam is remembering how shittily they were treated. They made damn sure that no succeeding generation of veterans was treated the same way. And I think it's in part why those who have served this country since 2001 in Afghanistan and Iraq, and Syria, and Somalia, and Libya, and Yemen, and all these countries all over the world are treated with the kindness and care that they deserve, is because of Jim and other Vietnam-era veterans who want to make sure that they receive a much better welcome home than they have received in their generation. And I think that dedication and that commitment to service extends to what Hospice is doing right now. Reaching level 5 status, distinguishing yourself by how you care for those veterans. Knowing full well that Vietnam generation of veterans, many of them are coming to the end of their lives right now, and having a very high quality of care and compassion and empathy that you provide is going to make the difference in how their lives conclude. And I am so proud that you have done that here, and by so doing have distinguished El Paso. I don't think there's any other hospice in the state of Texas that can claim this status and this distinction right now. And as a lifelong El Pasoan, and someone who cares deeply for the veterans who serve this country, that makes me extraordinarily proud. When I was first running for Congress in 2012, I remember knocking on doors. I may have knocked on some of your doors. I knocked on 16,000 doors across the city of El Paso, and I ran on a platform of making sure that we support our service members at Fort Bliss, we strengthen the U.S.-Mexico connection, we get resources to a city that typically had not received any. What surprised me is the people who answered those doors. After I introduced myself and I said, well, tell me what's most important to you. So many of them were veterans, or the husbands or wives, widows or widowers of veterans. And they said, if you really want to help Beto, what you can do is turn around the VA. In fact, I remember very clearly, I was on the east side knocking on doors in January 2012. And a guy answers the door and very graciously listens to me as I make my pitch. And he says, you know what, Beto, I just got off the phone with the VA. I served in Vietnam. I came back with post-traumatic stress disorder, and I'm trying to make a mental health care appointment. And they told me to call back next year. All of their appointments have been filled for 2012. Mind you, this was in January. He was being asked to wait 12 months to make an appointment. And so it should be no wonder to us that care delayed functionally became care denied and led to an epidemic in veteran suicide. And the largest cohort who lost their lives were not those veterans who just come back from Afghanistan and Iraq. It wasn't those veterans still alive from World War II and Korea. It was the Vietnam-era veterans who in many cases had been keeping the trauma and their feelings and their experiences under wrap for the last 50 years, unable or unwilling to talk to their kids, to counselors, to go to the VA in the first place. And now as they were trying to go and get that care that they needed, they just retired from their jobs, the kids were off at college, they were at this crossroads, they could not get that help. So as Jim said, we made it our #1 mission upon being elected to Congress Congress to serve those veterans. I asked to be on the Veterans Affairs Committee. I asked the VA to make the reduction in veteran suicide their #1 clinical priority, and they did that. We started to make some headway in that area. And I wanted to make sure that the El Paso VA turned around, because the El Paso VA had the longest wait times in the United States of America to see a mental health care provider. Absolutely unacceptable. So many times in my congressional office, a family member of a veteran would come in, tell me about their dad who killed himself, or their mom who died without getting the care that she needed. And we vowed that we would not allow that to happen in El Paso. But we knew it was going to be hard for the VA to do it on its own. So we reached out to the community. We reached out to the public hospitals. We reached out to the private hospitals. We reached out to the little clinics, and we reached out to hospice. And you all answered the call. You sat down at the table with us, and together we rebuilt that VA. Now, we're not there yet, but we're no longer dead last in the country. You saw that we just cut the ribbon on a brand new behavioral health PTSD care clinic right next to University Medical Center. We're beginning to attract many of the top practitioners and clinicians in the country to come to El Paso to do this work for veterans. And in many ways, they're following the lead that you have set here. So after seeing Jim's speech at the Chihuahua Stadium on Veterans Day, and being very moved by his description of what Vietnam-era veterans are going through, after being inspired by the work that you've done so far, I asked Jim if I might be able to come in and thank you. Though I'm no longer a member of Congress, my work in Congress was made much easier with your work here at Hospice. Lastly, my sister Charlotte worked here for a little while as a hospice nurse, and I can tell you, as her brother, she was never more fulfilled in her life. She never worked a tougher job, but I think she was gratified by the ability to connect with people in a way that you all connect with people, to help people in a way that you all help people. And so I want to say thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for allowing me to come in and see you today. And Jim, thank you for your extraordinary service and leadership to this community. We're very grateful. Thank you all.
Yes.
We won't have it very long, but anybody want to ask a question?
Happy to answer questions.
Don't you want to get a picture with Jody?
Absolutely.
Come on.
Congratulations, Jody.